Hey, gun people. Might put this on both horsey and gun. So those are my little forward tailgate things. My wood's supposed to be in today. So I decided, I looked at my, I already sprayed this down with oil. My little tires on my horse trailer, because I don't move it, it just sits there. And then I have that shield on it, so it's starting to rust. The chrome is starting to rust up. And I mean, look at that cap, it's almost ruined. I didn't do this soon enough. So if you want to prevent this from getting this bad, and I'll be able to remove a lot of it, and all I'm doing is sprayed it down with a little WD-40, took some steel wool. I thought I had some steel wool. I know I did, because I've been using this shit. What the hell did I do with my steel wool? There it is. So some steel wool, and then I just kind of rubbing off this top rust. And it's going to stop this rusting, hopefully, if I put some oil on here and get this top rust off. And then I've got some wax here, and you can use any paste wax, whether it's floor. This happens to be wood wax that I put on my wood. It's a Varathane wood paste wax, and I just rub it on things. I put this on my my saw plate over there, which was really getting rusted out here because it's humid here in Texas sometimes. Up north, it's not. I mean, it's humid all the time down south, but up north, every once in a while, we get humidity, and it just causes rust to go up. So instead of trying to do this on the trailer itself, I pulled my horse trailer tires off and squirt a little oil on here, and any oil will work. It just makes the steel wool glide easier and remove that top rust coat. And then after I wipe this down, after I get finished removing what rust I want to remove, making semi-flat surface, and I already did this to all my tires. This is the last one. I was like, well, you know what, I'll just do a little video in case. And of course, you know, the reason I bought these damn chrome wheels is because I was hoping it wouldn't rust as easy, because my other wheels look like shit. A horse trailer, for some reason, their wheels always look bad. So I was like, you know what, these were on sale. And I said, all right, I'll get some chrome wheels. Well, because I haven't waxed them or taken care of them, they've really gotten bad. So after I cleaned them and wiped them down with a little of that, I'm going to just put some of this paste wax on. Hopefully I'm in the camera here, am I? Yeah, I think I am. I didn't turn my little thing around. So by putting this paste wax here, it's stopping oxygen from getting on there. And I was wiping it off on one side, but on the back side I was like, you know what, I'm not even going to wipe it off. You can tell I got some pitting there because I let it go too long. This is what you don't want to happen to your guns, for my gun channel people. You neglect it a little bit, and a little top rust you can remove with some, you know, 4/0 steel wool. I'm actually using, this is thicker than 4/0. 4/0 is really fine. This is 4/0. This might be, hell, what do I got here? You usually give me 3 grades, so I probably have 3/0, 2/0, whatever, I don't know. But you can tell by looking at this, this is much more, am I getting in there? This is much more coarse than this. So I'm using the kind of rough stuff on this. Normally on my guns I'll only use this 4/0, and it won't remove the bluing or anything. Oh shit, I already did that, so I'm just putting oil on now. So after I oil this down and get a little top coat of oil, that's going to hopefully stop this rust from rebuilding. And again, I don't drive this horse trailer, so when it rains, moisture gathers, and when it rains, then the heat comes out, then it evaporates and moisture gathers. So by having this oil coat on here, I'm hoping that it will not gather on the metal, and it will hopefully hold down this rusting action that happens because I just don't drive it or move it. And I think because I cover it up with like a sun shield to stop the sun from eating my tires, it's rusted worse. The one, I'm going to show you a picture before I leave. This one is much worse because it's been covered up. The side that wasn't covered up is not near as bad. So covering it up which is why guns tend to rust if we end up covering them up or not putting good air circulation or warm air. And I just did a review on my gun channel about Renaissance wax, and it's a little bit more pure than this, but it's a little expensive, so I didn't want to put it on this. I should have done each tire with a different wax, but they weren't all the same grade, so me doing that probably wouldn't have been as good. So now I have wax on there. I haven't really cleaned this one, so since this one's done, I'm going to move this back on the ground, and I'll show you the steel wool action on this one. So I got steel wool. I sprayed this down with some oil. Make sure I'm in camera there. Let's flip my little screen around so now I can see. And then I just kind of scrub off that top rust with the steel wool. If you do this without any oil, it tends to scratch. And I'm using a little bit more abrasive wire because the rust is so bad. So I really want to kind of strip the top part of the rust, so when I put this wax on there, it will get down and stop oxygen from getting in on that rust. And I'm telling you, once I had that table, and it was a constant battle to oil and clean. I covered it with a towel. It was still always rusting. Somebody just put Johnson paste wax on it. And I put some of this wax on it, which is the same as Johnson. I've got Johnson. And it never rusted again. I was like, you got to be shitting me. So that wax really helps stop the rusting and corroding process. So I'm hopefully removing and getting oil in all these little cracks and crevices, even though it's pitted. So it may not work as well. And then I'll wax this down. And so this is still pretty bad, but I'm going to go ahead and put a little coat of wax on it. A little heavier coat where it's rusted and pitted, because I want that wax to really get in there. And again, I'm not even going to wipe this off, because this is the side that sits under that moisture. Now obviously, if I wipe it off, it puts a nice shine on it, and it still has a coat. And it'll still give it protection. But I'm thinking, if I leave it on, it'll probably give a little bit better protection. Won't look as pretty, but I'm doing it more to protect it from more of that rust coming on it than I am. If I want to clean it before I drive it somewhere, I can always just hose it down and wipe it down, and this will come off. The guys in the submarines in the military, before they went out to sea in Hawaii, they would park their cars in these lots that the military provided. So they'd park their car and it would sit there for 6 months while they're out at sea. And a lot of guys would wax their car and leave the wax on. So you see all these cars with wax just basting in the sun, and that wax was going to protect the coating. Then when they came back, they'd have to polish it off. But it protected their paint from fading, according to them. Whether or not it worked, I don't know. So I'm going to go, I'll show you what, a little rabbit came out. He's over there eating. What are you doing, boy? He's like, whatever, dude. Alright, so let's go take a look at, and again, I got to put those are the support braces for the two sides to the forward tailgate thingy. Ow, shit, son of a bitch, I just walked down. Ow, damn, screw. I'm tearing up shit. Excuse me, Mr. Rabbit, I'm coming by. So this is the one, I'll come stand where the rabbit's eat. He'll be like pissed. So this side, you can tell, they cleaned up pretty good. There was still a good bit of rust on them, but it hadn't quite pitted. Because the wind gets through, the dust gets through, and it was able not to rust as bad. The two on the other side, where I kept covered with this big old metal thing, because the sun comes up here and it just beats on these tires all day. So I keep this, which is all rusted, leaning against the tires over here, so these tires look a little bit worse. And I put wax on that one, but I didn't wipe it off. So if I get in close, you can probably see it's a little bit more pitted than the other side because of, I think because this thing's holding moisture and protecting it. So that's my little project that I was doing for rust preventing, or trying to get rid of that rust that sits over here. Just figured I would share that wax tip. I'm glad somebody shared it with me, I don't know, a couple years ago. But it worked. Hey! Hey, Mr. T, you snuck up on me. What are you doing, boy? I didn't even see you, old man. You snuck up on me? I know Buddy ain't far. If Buddy wasn't around, I'd sneak you some food. I just posted a video on my horse channel about me having to sneak him food when Buddy's not around. Let me see what. I bet you Buddy's right around the corner. So I'm not going to be able to sneak him food. Yep. He's like, what? Don't you give that horse food without me. Poor Mr. T. I'll give you some hay as soon as I get my hands cleaned up and get this last tire on. And man, I'm telling you, torquing these freaking things down to 90, 100 pounds, that's a lot of torque. I've got a big old long torque wrench, and even though I got my little air drill to take them off, it's quick and I get them on. You want to torque, and if you bring it by any tire shop, normally they will torque them for free. You can say, hey, can you check my air pressure? Make sure my my nuts are torqued. And they'll torque them right. What torquing does is make sure you has the right pressure on each nut so you have a balanced fit. If you put more pressure on the top, it can tend to warp the wheel of the brake drum, or it causes issues. I mean, these have disc brakes, so it's not real bad, but you still want to have equal pressure on all nuts. I think it also helps so a nut doesn't end up coming off. If you got 3 tighter than 2, the 2 that are loose will become looser, whatever. I mean, trucks, for some reason, tractor, horse trailer tires are always blowing, and they're always having nuts fall off or bearings lock up. I don't know what it is, whether it's the heavy weight that's always bouncing because you're carrying this heavy weight. Maybe it's because they sit a lot and they aren't driven a lot. I don't know what it is, but I'm telling you, in the horse industry or in the horse world, it ain't nothing but problems with tires. But anyway, all right, we'll go ahead and end that there.